Hey everyone, I thought I'd show you the latest upcoming features that are coming to the Fabber extension. These aren't out quite yet, but in a week or two they will be. So this is a typical part that you could create using the Fabber extension. You would simply, draw sort of a flat panel like this, and you could go in and make these slots like this and sort of push-pull them down. And we would export, excuse me, an SVG file that's like this. So you've got your cutout here, your pockets for these weld nut slots. This is a typical CNC fastener that I use all the time. This is what you normally get, and you can still do this, but the problem with this is that if you wanted to go change these slots, maybe make them all wider or deeper or something like that, because you had to draw them sort of all one at a time, you would have to go and edit each one of these slots individually, which is not terribly hard maybe in a drawing like this, but if you have a really complex model like a cabinet or an arcade machine or something like that, you'd have to go make a lot of edits. So we made this a lot simpler. So you now can make a slot or some other drill hole or any other detail as a component. So when you edit one, they all change. So I will go make these slots all wider, and you can see all I had to do is sort of click into one and make an alteration to it, and whatever I do to one happens to the other. So say I wanted to make this all a little bit shallower, I could do that, and that change affects all of these subcomponents. And now when we export, so we'll just say test export 5, and we'll go ahead and open this up. You will see here in Illustrator that we get that alteration happening to all of these pockets automatically. So for those of you that have assemblies with lots of drill holes or lots of repeating connectors, or people who just want a library of connectors that they can reuse and drag and drop into their parts, this is going to be really, really useful. And so we're going to provide some pre-made connectors, like things like these weld nut slots and other sort of common fasteners. But if you want to create your own, I'll do a more in-depth tutorial, but basically the way it works is this. So SketchUp has this notion of components that can cut holes in other parts in SketchUp. So I'm going to make a very simple component like this. We'll make this a circle. So I'm going to select it, right-click, and say Make Component. And I'm going to actually set some of these options here. So I'm going to say glue to any, and I'm going to check off cut opening. And for component axes, you can see here there's this gray plane, and that defines the plane in which the component is going to cut. It default kind of goes to the bottom. We actually want to bring this up to the top. So I'm going to put this component axis, just you can get pretty specific about this, but I'm just going to put it anywhere on the top here. And got to click a couple times and click Create. And now for a visual, I always like to go in and just remove the face on the top, and you'll see why in a moment here. So now I have this component in my component browser, and I can drag and drop and put it there, and it automatically cuts the hole on this part. And it's very easy to drag and drop and create more of these. And again, because they're components, if you go alter one, it will alter all of the other ones. And you can make pretty drastic changes to these things as well. I mean, you can completely change the shape of them if you want. So here I'm going to, change this thing over to a rectangle, totally different shape, and it updates all of the hole cuts that these were used. So again, if you have a lot of repeating stuff, this is going to be very useful. I'm going to sort of complete this and make this an exportable object. All I have to do is select all of it, right-click, and make a component. We don't have to do any of this stuff, and now this is a Fabber exportable part. So we'll be rolling out this in the next week or two. We'll put an announcement on the forums when it's out, but I thought you guys might appreciate seeing some new features. Love to hear any feedback. Thanks.